Welcome to another episode of Life Lessons with Dr. Bob. Today's episode is quite different from prior episodes. In this episode, it's being recorded a few days after the terrible, unfortunate incident where my friend Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And today I'm going to be discussing with my partner and co-producer, Jarred Coleman, about my relationship with Charlie Kirk.
Well, Dr. Bob, it's good to be here with you today. Not under the circumstances. It's been a bad week. It's been a bad week,
Jarred.
It's been a very bad week. But we wanted to come on, and I know you and Charlie had a great relationship, and you've been supporting Turning Point for more years than I even know.
Yeah,
so we'll find out.
10 years. Right.
So we'll find out a little bit about that today. I remember when Charlie was here, and I know we've both watched at least some of the interview when he came in a couple years ago.
Yeah.
It was the only time I got to meet him thanks to you, so I hold that pretty closely. But I remember when he sat down in his opening remarks, he thanked you very sincerely for your support for Turning Point USA, and he called you a great mentor to him. Before we talk maybe more about some of your recent history with him, if you want to talk about how that relationship developed a little bit.
Yeah, we had, Charlie first started in 2012. He had just finished high school at the age of 17, and he starred at Turning Point. And about a few years after that, I heard about him and through an article, and I contacted him because I'm always looking for people who can make a difference in this world. Right? I don't wait for them to contact me. I contact them. So I contacted him sometime in 2015, 2 or 3 years after he started Turning Point. I introduced myself and told him that I really appreciated his mission, his energy, his drive, his zeal for saving America, for getting young people to focus on what's good in America, the freedoms that we enjoy. And I told him I was going to support him. And since that time in 2015, I've, for the next 10 years, I've been one of his biggest supporters financially and emotionally. And it was a great ride, just a fantastic ride. And he came to our studio here a few years ago, and we recorded a podcast. It's podcast number 13, in which he describes the reasons why he started Turning Point and his success at that point, which has grown tremendously in the past 4 years. The revenue of the organization, Jarred, exceeded $80 million. He had hundreds, I think it was 600 campus organizations, registered organizations, and his impact on young people, on both students in colleges and in high schools, was dramatic.
Remarkable.
And when I first heard about him and met him, I knew this was a special guy. Every cause needs a leader.
And those are big shoes to fill.
He was exceptional. He was smart, great memory for details, charismatic, a true leader and a true entrepreneur, and in every sense, and highly successful. And the elimination, the assassination of this fantastic man will have a dramatic effect on America and the free world.
It's haunted me, and it's haunted our family, just like I know it has much of the country. I've had to take breaks from social media. Most of it is just a score of his inspirational quotes and speeches and everything like that. But even then, you can just feel, he was one of one.
An unusual individual he's very opinionated. He always stated what he stood for, and God and country and the Judeo-Christian ethics of this country. But he was also a kind individual. In all the time I spent with him, in all of the interviews I've ever seen him on college campuses, he's never been angry, he's never been nasty, and it is such a travesty to paint this unusual individual as an evil man. And what upsets me most, maybe beyond having him assassinated, is the left's response to it. The fact that they are celebrating this man's assassination. It speaks so negatively about what's happening in America today. And it's not the polarization of the parties. It's mainly the left. It's the left. So whenever, commentators talk about we have to stop the violence, and they make it appear like it's on the right and left, it is not on the right. It's the left.
If you see any of the montages of the speech, the insightful speech that has happened for, probably at least 10 years, perhaps longer, but since Trump started his campaign, we got to punch him in the face. You got to knock him down.
By insightful, you didn't mean INSIGHFUL. You meant INCIT.
Exactly.
Right. Inciting people to be violent against the right.
Exactly. For years and years and years.
Yeah, it's been for years.
And there's now a call for unity and stuff.
Bullshit.
We've tried. We really have tried.
Right.
Has been, luckily a couple of the late night talk show hosts, even this week,
today,
it seems like
fired
Jimmy Kimmel for absurdities is getting pulled off air finally. So I want to ask, a lot of people say when they meet Charlie, even Ben Shapiro said, when I met this man, I thought he's going to be the leader of the Republican Party someday, or the RNC. He says his impact was even greater now. But a lot of other people say, as soon as I met him, I said this man was going to be president someday. Did he strike you when you first met him, or was he young and still, gaining his chops when you met him?
I didn't see him as a person who wanted to be president, right? He wanted to be impactful on young people in college, and as the organization grew, they moved also to high schools. He wanted to be impactful on how young people viewed America, to be proud of America, instead of what the left is telling us that America's evil. So I don't think he had aspirations to be that, but he certainly, with his acumen, with his intelligence, with his drive, and with his ability to build organizations, he certainly could have become the president of the United States. He certainly could have become.
I know even recently he was asked that question, and he said, in 2028, I'm going to help J.D. Vance get elected, and all I want right now is to have the highest and most impact.
Right. I don't think that, he's, and I've known him for a long time, he is not interested in power. But it's important that good people take an interest in power to control things. So I advised him that he should continue to think about growing the organization with the ultimate goal of going into politics and getting access to the levers of power to make real change.
Absolutely. And he was having such an impact, not as an elected official, but as kind of the guiding hand for who was to become elected officials.
He was, I believe, through Turning Point Action, which is a 501c4, which I contributed to, that he was instrumental. 501c4 and Charlie were instrumental in getting Trump elected in 2024. He actually put people on the ground. He hired staff to focus on Republicans in those key states, in the borderline, in the key states that were important to the election. And unlike other organizations that tried to convince left or center-left people to vote Republican, he didn't do that. Unique. He focused on Republicans who had a low voting record. They didn't vote.
Genius.
Gee, it's so obvious. You don't have to convince them.
Just get them out.
Just get them out. Help get them out. And he hired with my financial assistance, of course, and other people too, he hired people, a 501c4, to call on those homes. You can identify in every community. You can identify who people are, what their voting record is. He focused on Republicans who generally don't vote. He got them to vote.
Genius.
And that made a dramatic difference. And I think President Trump understands that and appreciates that Charlie Kirk's organization helped him get elected to be president of the United States.
People point to a lot of different factors, the podcast effect, going on Joe Rogan, a lot of those
very important. And I think it was Byron Trump who advised his dad to go on Joe Rogan. A big deal.
Right.
He was on Joe Rogan for 3 hours. Another big deal was his serving fries at McDonald's.
Exactly.
Okay?
Iconic.
And driving that trash truck because the Democrats were saying, oh, Trump's trash. He's garbage. Okay,
Here
I'll
he
show you
comes.
garbage. What Trump is he's in essence an ordinary man, highly successful, but he understands what Americans want and what they stand for, and he's able to do it with a sense of humor. The left has no sense of humor. The left, Jarred, is filled with anger and hate. The only thing they want to do is destroy. They have no concept of fixing things, improving things. Has to be destroyed.
I think the best case of that recently was how many people have been sending Gavin Newsom Trump 2028 hats, and he just can't stand it.
I didn't know about that.
This is a real thing. He says he's received hundreds of them at this point.
Well, if I knew, I would have sent him one myself.
And he'll get on the mic and he'll say, he's not joking, people. I don't think he's going to give it up in office. He's running in 2028.
I don't think he's going to do that, but we have a strong bench on the conservative side. And I hate to say Republican, but I have to say it because we only have two parties. But we have a strong bench. We have J.D. Vance. We have Marco Rubio. Okay, we have the governor of Florida.
DeSantis.
Yep. These are smart, experienced people. And I'm saying that not because I read their articles, because I've met them and spent time with them. So in addition, there are probably other candidates. So we are going to win in 2028.
Absolutely.
I don't care if the president is male or female. I don't care what their skin color is, as long as they are pro-American values, the old-style American values that I grew up in. I mean, I grew up in the 60s and 70s and 80s. Fantastic times. You listen to the music. You listen to the music of the Beach Boys, okay? That is the America that I grew up in. There was no hate. There was no extreme division. And even though there were two parties, whoever was the candidate for president loved America. And that changed. That changed with Barack Obama, who wanted to change America.
Yeah, it's too bad. And I know you and Charlie talked about that too. I've watched and rewatched.
It's episode 13 on Life Lessons with Dr. Bob, where it was done about 3 or 4 years ago, where Charlie talks about why he started Turning Point. He initially wanted to go to the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. He was turned down, and that was a good thing because that motivated him to start Turning Point, which has had a dramatic effect on America.
Absolutely. So what's it been like 10 or so years into the Turning Point story? I know you support possibly hundreds of organizations, and you were a big donor of Turning Point. Watching them grow over the years, I mean, what does it take in Dr. Bob's eyes to be a sustainable and impactful organization? And then why was Turning Point that, and why are they that?
To be successful, an organization needs a charismatic leader. And Turning Point had that. And my worry, Jarred, is that although Turning Point will continue to exist, people will still donate to Turning Point, but But without a leader, it has no particular direction.
And it could be interesting to see. I know we all watched Erica Trump's remarks when she came out like a lioness 48 hours after that. And if she's anything like Charlie, she'll remain leading an organization.
And that's a real challenge because filling Charlie's shoes is a huge challenge, Now, I backed him as, over 10 years ago because I met him, I talked to him, and I saw the fire in his eyes and the commitment to go the distance. He never went to college, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
College, now, I'm not saying college is a bad thing. It's a good thing for certain things. If you're going to be a surgeon, if you're going to be a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, you need a formal education. Now, mind you, colleges give a formal education. They overcharge for it, tremendously overcharge for it. They add courses that are not necessary.
That first time.
And I think that with the internet, you could lower the cost of that education. You could still achieve the same level of education and knowledge without that cost. So I'm not a big fan of formal education in colleges. But Charlie avoided that. He knew what he wanted to do, and he was successful in accomplishing it.
So I know you were sending me clips and videos from an event, I think last summer, at a Turning Point event, where you were meeting giant room, donors, attendees, members of Turning Point. Was that the last time you and Charlie were in the same room together?
I think it was in probably 2022 or 2023, before the election. And Charlie has, every year, Turning Point for the past, 5-10 years, has an event in Mar-a-Lago, a fantastically well-planned event, black tie, wonderful people, wonderful food, to which he invites his key supporters and funders. And I've been fortunate to be at those events for the past 4 or 5 years. And at that event, a day before that event, they hold meetings for their investors, which Charlie stands up and goes through details about what they accomplished, what they promised to accomplish, what they did accomplish, without notes. And,
Amazing.
I've done many presentations. I can't do that. I need notes. I need a script. I need help. He does it from memory, and the numbers he pulls out are the right numbers of the number of lectures he's given, or the number of followers he has, and of the organizations that he's started, whether it's Turning Point Faith or Turning Point Education or Blexit. He talks about every one of those in detail without notes, and to show his investors that they invested correctly, that they are that he's returning a great return on their investment. And he has 2 organizations. There's Turning Point, which is a 501c3, which is a charitable organization. Can't be political. It can have causes, but it can't talk about any particular candidates. And then he has a 501c4 called Turning Point Action, which is allowed and permitted to take positions on political issues and politicians. So usually at that meeting, they split it into 2 parts.
Okay.
And at the meeting in 2022 or 23, he talked about the importance of getting Trump reelected. And he asked, he made a presentation about why it was important and what he plans to do if he gets the money to do it. To hire canvassers, professional people on salary, to go to the neighborhoods. And he focused on those states where they were on the edge of being red or blue, where Trump had not won in the previous elections, but that if he won this time, he would win the presidency. And he talked about his strategy and how many people he's going to hire and arm them with all the data on their cell phones to go door to door. And unlike other organizations that would focus on borderline people, center or center left, to try to convince them to be on the right, to vote for Trump, He didn't do that. Much smarter. What he focused on is low propensity voters, Republicans.
Already leaning the right way.
Already have the right ethics, or the right way of thinking in our view, but they don't vote. Mm-hmm. They just don't go out to vote. They're busy, they're whatever. He focused on them, had lists and armed his people on the field. It's called clipboards and sneaker people. They go from house to house, but in this case, they only went to the houses of Republicans who generally haven't voted and helped them, convince them to vote.
Great move.
And Trump won every one of those borderline states where Charlie Kirk's army was out there. And so before that happened, of course, he was talking about what he wanted to do, and I stood up at that meeting. And I said, Charlie, I believe in you. I believe in the mission. And I made a 7-figure commitment, and other people followed. And I'm really proud of the fact that I did that.
100%. I remember you sending those videos back to me while you were there. And you said, if you don't put your money where your mouth is, you're not going to have the money or a country.
They're going to take your money.
You're not going to have anything to do anyways. It's going to be gone.
I said that to the audience. I took the microphone and I thanked Charlie for this and for his intellect and for his enthusiasm and for his energy. And I told the people who were there, and these are all people with great financial wealth, and I said, this is the best thing you can do. If you don't spend your money, if you don't invest your money in this effort, they're going to just take your money anyway. So
what do you have to lose here?
What do you have to lose?
And it was honestly at a time where it was
during Biden's presidency.
50-50 at best if Trump was going to get back
in. At best, right.
I was worried at that time.
And he had, 50 lawsuits against him.
Exactly.
The left
was in court every day.
Determined to destroy this man. To destroy this. And that's what the left does. They destroy things. They're good at it. Now, one thing that, I have a problem with the Republicans. We're too gentlemanly. All right? We want to play by the rules. Well, if you're a football team and one team plays by the rules and the other team doesn't, the one that doesn't play by the rules is going to win. Mm-hmm. So I think we have to do something to suspend the rules for a while. We have to become more militant. We have to become angrier. And we're all already angry, but we have to do something with that anger, okay? We have to carry forth and hurt the enemy. We have to hurt our enemies. If they're illegals in this country, we'll get rid of these people, get them out of this country. And if they're legal citizens, we have to prosecute them to the extent that it's lawful to do that. We can't stand by when the left is destroying this country intentionally. It's not from stupidity. They're not stupid. They're very smart, but they're evil.
Mm-hmm. Well, if a punk kid who's dating his male roommate,
who's transitioning to a woman,
can enact this much damage on a country and on a family, I agree. I mean, I got a Byrna, a non-lethal weapon for my wife to have around. It's just, if there's that many lunatics that are willing to do that, then maybe even a non-lethal,
lethal
option.
You got to go lethal.
But some way they can defend themselves from absolute lunacy.
And we have to penalize the mainstream media for getting us to this point. And these people in Congress, the progressive caucus, who are incentivizing people to confront the right-wingers in their restaurants, in their homes, and riling people to be anti-Semites. These people have to be shut down. Somehow we have to remove them from office. One way or another, we have to remove them from office. These people who came, I forget which one it is Ilhan Omar from Somalia?
Mm-hmm.
She comes from this country, which is at the bottom rung of countries in the world. She comes here. And instead of saying, thank you, America, this is what, she's criticizing America and trying to make America into Somalia. These people have to be sent out of this country, deported, get rid of them.
I completely agree. There's a lot of bad rap on that girl. So what is Dr. Bob's, what are you telling other organizations right now? I know, like I said, you support possibly hundreds. What's your big picture takeaway right now from other conservative and charitable organizations that you're involved in? What guidance are you giving? I know they probably look to you the same way Charlie did.
Yeah, it's hard to know what to tell them. You know, I currently support, it's 65 different organizations around the world. And mainly those organizations, they fall into certain categories. Defending America, free speech, First Amendment, and certainly Second Amendment, because we need to have the right to bear arms. And the founders of this country, Jarred, didn't put that in to defend us against burglars or criminals. They put that into the Constitution because they saw how the British were opposing them, were abusing them. They put that into the Constitution to make sure that we could protect ourselves against government. That's the key. People shouldn't fear government. Government should fear the people. They rule because we give them our authority for a certain time or whatever, under certain conditions, to run the country. But we have to control that, and the only way you can control that is through weapons. You look at any country in the world where they've abolished weapons and you've abolished freedom.
Britain's running around with batons.
Right, there you go. Yeah. What can you do? Once people take power, control the military, control weapons, whether it's Cuba, whether it's China, whether it's Venezuela, I think it's impossible to get back to freedom. So the last bastion of our freedom depends on that Second Amendment. So I tell people, I'm not getting ready for a revolution, but you have to be able to buy guns. And I tell people you have to be able to defend your family. People always talk about the first responders when there's a church shooting or horribles at school. The first responders are the police. Well, yes, they are the first to respond, but that's wrong. The first responders should be the people in that church, in that school, in that synagogue. They should be the first responders because by the time the police come, it's too late. And I'm not putting the police down. That's the best they can do. You got to take them 20 minutes.
Right. An 8-minute response time is still too late.
It's too late, and it can't be 8 minutes. You know that. It's going to be 30 minutes or something. If you are not personally a first responder, then you might be the first victim. So I urge people to buy guns, to get trained. You can't carry a gun if you don't know how to use it, when to use it, carefully, safely. But you have to be prepared to defend your family, yourself, and your community.
With all the content I've been watching lately of Charlie's, we defend our banks, we defend our airports, are basically demilitarized zones, but we don't have at schools or at churches.
Right. And a lot of people are suggesting, well, they have to have more protective measures at every school, every church. No, and cameras are a waste of time. That's just going to maybe help the police catch the perpetrators.
For a burglary.
It's for burglaries. No, what has to happen is people have to be willing in their community to be part of that patrol. They have to be armed and ready. It's a shame that our country has come to this point, but that's where we are. When a poor girl from the Ukraine sitting on a bus gets stabbed to death and no one helps her, it's a bad situation, a terrible situation. And a lot of the problem is because of the leftist prosecutors that George Soros has funded or paid for them to get elected, and for those prosecutors to let these people go without bail. This individual who killed
should have never been on the streets.
Should never been on the street. I think he had a record of 14 felonies, and he was still
clinical
out.
Schizophrenia.
And he was still out. Right. So there are two horrible things happening. One is the prosecutors and the DAs letting these people out. And the next is the average person who's on that train watching but not helping, maybe recording it, but not helping. There's a sickness in our society. And I'm sorry, I just don't have any suggestions on how to fix it. I just don't. And it looks bleak.
I guess one positive note would be that I saw Turning Point released, bringing it back there in the wake of this tragedy. Record number of applications for high school chapters, for college chapters, 30,000 requests to get involved with the TPA ballot chasing initiative. 15,000 plus tickets were sold in last week to America Fest this December. I bought my first ticket. I've never been to an event. Maybe we'll be there doing interviews together. We'll see. But I know I want to be in the room. And I think a lot of the stuff you just said, America, a good portion of it is fed up. And they're willing to band together now.
And people are saying this is a turning point, not to overuse that phrase. It is a turning point in people's minds, but what can we do about it? Right? This is the question. We have to vote in more people who have the beliefs that you and I do in Judeo-Christian values, about the sanctity of life. And I'm not getting into the abortion thing, about the value of life. You have to be taught to value people, not to be willing to just slit their throat on a bus for no particular reason. But it's a long process to get us back to where we were, Jarred, a long process. It takes leadership, and thank God we have a leader in the White House who understands these things.
Absolutely. And with people like you supporting good causes and a lot of good foot soldiers, hopefully we can keep the tide moving in the right direction.
To do anything takes effort, it takes people, and that takes money. So I always urge my friends or my colleagues, people that I know, okay, look, you can devote a lot of money to giving it to universities and libraries and hospitals, but you know what? You have to devote some money to politics. You must. I know people, well, I'm not involved in politics. Well, you may not be involved in politics, but politics is involved with you, all right? So, it upsets me, and, I try not to get angry with these people, but we have to vote in more people who have the beliefs that we do in the sanctity of life, in the beauty of freedom, in the challenge that America and the opportunities that America gives, and to change the educational system in the high schools, in the junior high schools, where they're now being taught that America is a racist country. I don't know if you know this. This is what's being taught, the evils of America.
Oh, yeah.
So that has to be changed. The teachers' union has to be dissolved. These people should be, frankly, they should be in jail. To teaching anti-American philosophy to Americans, to teaching people, young people, to hate this country, to feel guilty. If you're white, you're guilty. It's white guilt. Even if you don't know it, it's not your white guilt. What is this bullshit?
Right.
Okay?
Right.
So the teachers' union has to be dissolved. We have to vote in. It's on the local level. I have friends who are on school boards, but there are 5 members in this particular school board near my neighborhood. 3 of them are leftists and 2 are common sense people. Well, they get outvoted. So we have to vote the right people in, and it's in each individual community. You don't have to think about how you're going to save the world. Save your community. Get involved. Run for a local office. You don't have to run for mayor. Run for the school board. Run from the planning association.
Yeah.
I happen to be on the board of my HOA for these kinds of reasons. Now, it takes time. It takes effort. But it's necessary. If you want to live if you want to maintain the great country that we have, the standard of living that we have, you have to get involved. And it doesn't mean you need a lot of money. You don't need money to run for a school board or for a committee, council member or something. No, you just have to be willing to do it.
Join a local conservative chapter of some kind.
Right. And support a candidate, right? And it doesn't mean a lot of money, right? Now, if you have money, you should use it appropriately and invest it in state and national elections to try to win those seats. And I think we're on a roll. I think we're going to gain seats in Congress in this upcoming next election. When is it? In 2026? Is it 26?
Yeah, coming up.
Coming up. God forbid we lose the House. God forbid we lose the House.
I think you may be right. I think
we're not going to. I think the tide
momentum's in
has
the right
turned.
direction.
The Democrats are in disarray. They are evil. Now, that wasn't always true. But if John Kennedy was alive today, he'd be a Republican. It's not that people have changed. The party has changed. The Democrat Party is now the party of hate, the party of socialism, of communism. That's what the Democrat Party has become. So I urge people who've been lifelong Democrats, and I grew up in a Democrat household. Well, I wouldn't vote for Democrats today.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not saying that every Republican is good. I'm not saying that, okay? But of the two choices, there's a clear choice. A clear
Absolutely.
choice. Do not vote for anybody who's a Democrat. I can say that without exception. You cannot vote for Democrat. They are top down. Even if this guy who's running as something or other and Democrat is a good guy, he will not vote that way.
If it's for eroding your freedoms,
right,
or
he's
more traditional American
he's
values.
going to vote the way he's told to vote by the next Nancy Pelosi.
And if you can't call out things that are clearly wrong in this day and age,
right, clearly
without
wrong.
being a fascist,
right,
or a homophobe or a racist, then might not want to be the gang you're hitching your wagon to.
The frightening thing, and I watched that video of Charlie being shot. I mean, I think we've all seen. You can't erase that from your mind. He was just answering a question about transgenderism when this assassin, who is becoming, or his girlfriend or boyfriend is a transgender, shot him in the throat, which is so symbolic because Charlie's strength was his speaking. That was his spank. And by shooting him, I don't know if he aimed for the throat, but it's so symbolic because they want to stop our speech. That's what they want. They want to shut us up. And for them, the easiest way is to kill us. So it's coming to a neighborhood near you. We have to all get ready to fight against evil. Go to church, go to temple, go to wherever. Pray to God, but prayer isn't enough. God expects you to do something.
Sure.
You know, I'm sure that when David approached Goliath in the Bible, I'm sure he prayed. But that wasn't enough. He picked up a stone and killed Goliath. So God gives us the opportunity and the freedom of will to decide what to do. And now we have to do it.
Amen to that. Thank you for those wise words. It's a troubling time for everyone, so
It's a very sad time.
I think
Very sad time.
those are some wise words to hold to, and here on this show, we'll continue to highlight change makers.
Change makers, right. People with the guts, with the ability to do something to help save this fantastic country. Thank you for watching. And if you want to be advised of future episodes, just sign up and we'll put you on the list. God bless.